Welcome to the Momnificent Podcast. This is the place where we help parents live a happy, healthy life with their kids. We're going to show you how to connect with your child and help them even in their most difficult moments as we hear from experts in the field. I'm your host, Dr. Karen Jakubowski, an international speaker, public school principal, and former struggling student. The Momnificent Podcast equips parents with science-based strategies to help you live a happy, healthy life with your kids. Welcome. Well, Rita's mission. I am so excited to have Rita Farruggia on our show today because Rita's mission is to awaken people to their love, teaching them how to reprogram their subconscious to align with truth through creating a daily self-care practice. And it's through a commitment to a daily self-care practice that we can eliminate the noise of the world, stress, anxiety, and our rapid thoughts. This allows us to be able to align with our personal truth, love, clarity, focus, intuition, and confidence. This process allows us to know who we are. It deepens our compassion and ability to love not only ourselves, but also others. And this is the reason Rita is committed to providing the best natural products that you will love to use and wear, whether it's luxurious activewear leggings to work out or meditate in, clean skincare, or creating a luxurious at-home spa feeling with salt lamps, crystals, aromatherapy, natural candles, all natural facial masks, and much more at happywell.com. She is a self-care, self-love, happiness expert. She's founder and CEO of happybeingwell.com, which is a wellness e-commerce site devoted to providing organic self-care products to amplify your wellness so you can be happy being well. And I love this, that happybeingwell.com has a mission of being the #1 self-care community in North America. Rita, welcome to Momnificent.
Thanks, Karen. I said it right, Karen. I'm
You
so proud of
did.
myself.
You did. Kudos to you. Now other people will remember it now. And Rita, where are you enjoying Momnificent from today?
Laguna Beach.
Oh, how fun. Okay, enjoy the sand and the water for me, okay? Up here in Delaware, where it's not as beautiful. And what have you done recently that maybe you haven't done for a while that just brings you joy?
I went to the movie theater. I haven't been there in so long. And yeah, so it was like, I love movies. And yeah, it was definitely joyful, especially, with the pandemic, now we've recently, it's been like 2 months of an official, open, we're open, we can go to places without all these
Right? Restrictions.
right.
I know. Who would have thought like a couple years ago we'd have been like, oh my gosh, the movies made me so happy, right?
I know. It's
Oh,
crazy. Yeah.
that's so fun. Good for you. So I absolutely love when I saw that you were on a mission to create the #1 self-care community in North America. How did this journey begin for you?
That's a good question. And, the journey began because I've always been in love with all natural self-care products. Like I'd always get super, super excited when I discovered something new. For example, I didn't know crystal bookends existed. So when I discovered that, I was like, oh my God, that is so amazing. I could have crystal bookends in the home, as a part of my energy frequency healing, but it's also amazing home decor. It looks pretty. So I've always, and bath bombs and facial masks, these were always things that I've always been on a hunt for. And I would always go to different stores to get them. It's never been in one shop. And it was always a sporadic process. Like if I'm flipping through the magazine, on an airline and I see a product, I'm like, oh my God, that is so awesome. Or especially with leggings, always a challenge to find unique creative leggings that also were high quality, like high quality fabric, and the waistband didn't get loose after a few wears that actually supported me. So these were all products that really were always a challenge for me to really find high end, high quality, especially all natural products, especially with my skincare. Like I don't play when it comes to my skincare. So yeah, of course we use these products. We love using them just, to take care of our skin, but I use them as a part of my like personal development rituals as well, to amplify my clarity, amplify my self-love, amplify getting to know myself. And so, to further, like we always need to heal because we're always, the minute we walk out the door, we're going to be traumatized by something like maybe like a road rager yelling at us or whatever it is, right? Right? That's a
Yeah.
micro trauma, a mini trauma that, you might heal and maybe like, talking it out or just like reminding yourself, okay, that's their stuff. It's not about me. It's about them. They're having a bad day and taking it out of me, right? So, yeah, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about self-care and like, just being mentally healthy so we can be emotionally healthy as well. So we can
Yeah.
develop high quality lives.
Mental and emotionally healthy. I really like that. And sometimes it can feel like we don't have time for self-care. I mean, I've heard people say and tell me like, "Well, I don't have time for that." When we're talking about self-care, and I'm like, "Wait, you it's not a matter of not having time. Like, it's a necessity." And what would you say to someone listening who might be thinking, "Yeah, but I don't really have time for self-care. Like, I got too much going on." What's your response to that?
Yeah, that's why I infused my self-care with my personal development practices. Well, okay, my personal development practices, I think a lot of people go to, okay, I'm kind of going. So one thing you can do to stay and make time for it is number one, there's so many things that we do that we're spending time on that we don't even recognize how much time, that we're throwing essentially away where we can be using it in a more productive way. Like, for example, I'm a big fan of time tracking, because I use it in my career, because there's so many things that we need to do in our careers. It can be overwhelming. And so you get into so I time track everything. Okay, how long is it going to take me to, you know, do emails, or how long is it going to take me to write this or that, right? So after a while, you kind of get used to how long certain tasks take you. So you can just, you don't have to time track everything. You kind of get a gist of it. And so same thing goes with our day-to-day lives. Like just start tracking like how much time you're actually spending scrolling through social media, how much time you're actually watching Netflix. How much time are you on the phone, chatting with our friends. I'm not saying that that's not a valuable activity, but sometimes, we can go overboard because sometimes we like to distract ourselves from things that seem uncomfortable to us, whereas we want to stay in our comfort zone and perhaps we want to distract ourselves with something that seems soothing in the time period, but we're really could be using that time for ourselves to develop ourselves, release stress in healthy ways, to achieve clarity so you can take action on the things that bring you results that you actually lead to the life you want to live, and that takes discipline and it takes getting to know yourself. Because if you don't know your traumas, you don't know your fears, you're you're going to be blindsided and you're going to continue doing actions like procrastination or stuff like that. So, number one, yeah, time tracking. Number two, I'm a big fan of in my morning ritual. I do a facial mask in the morning. I block out, it takes like 10 to 15 minutes, and I literally combine doing my facial with my meditation. Now, it takes, so it's like, okay, so you're rushing in the morning, you have to get to work, right? I've been there, I understand. But if you actually wake up an additional 50 minutes earlier and say to yourself, okay, I'm just gonna like do the facial, and then as the mask is drying, I meditate and I place crystals on my body to amplify relaxation, especially in the mornings can get really hectic. So, even with my podcast, if I'm talking on podcasts, I'm always holding crystals. Like I'm a big fan of crystal healing, and as I work, I'm always working with crystals. Anywho, yeah, so you're taking care of your skin and also you're getting in your meditation time right in the morning before you start your day. So 10 minutes or 15 minutes, depending upon, how much time it takes you to apply the mask and do your little meditation and then wash your face and then go and do the rest of your day. Another thing that I do too, the night before, so this way I can maximize my morning time. before I start my workday is I put, if you're a coffee drinker, I put the coffee beans in the coffee pot, the night before, fill it up with water so it's good to go, and you just press power, and just little things like that you
Mm.
can do the night before saves so much time in the morning when you're doing the morning dash. Lay out your work clothes, if you're going into the office, saves you so much time, when you're doing the morning dash too. So
Right.
yeah, those are little things you can do.
Rather than standing there being like, what am I going to wear? And then having the feeling like I do, I have nothing to wear. My closet is full of clothes and I have the feeling that I have nothing to wear because nothing looks new or um, I know someone who lays out their clothes literally on like Sunday for every day of the entire week.
Oh, wow, that's really
I have
disciplined.
never gotten there yet, but that just makes me go, wow.
But I love that. I love those little tricks and tips that you shared. So when someone asks you about the time tracker, what do you tell them? What does that look like? Like if someone was like, "What is she talking about? What would that look like for me?" How do you describe if we wanted to try that?
Yeah, so I use my phone because all of our phones have that timer. So I just like literally press the timer, if I'm writing an article, okay. And that's a really good way to schedule even that's a good thing to do for your work, for your career too. So you can really be productive and work around a structured schedule because you actually know if you're going to talk to a particular person, I'm going into work because like I'm always thinking about work. Okay, let's go away from work into leisure. If you're a stay-at-home mom, how long, does it take you to make dinner? I'm we typically make the same particular meals, as humans, we're very habitual. So start paying attention to how long certain things take you, when you're making your meals, when you're going to the grocery store. We typically are very habitual creatures. And when you start doing this, you start realizing like, you typically spend the same amount of time at the grocery store. I use my phone. What I do when I go to the grocery store is I like track, like, okay, I'm walking in at this time. When am I walking out? Okay, now I'm at my home and I'm unloading the groceries out of the car and into my fridge. Okay, how long does that take me? I literally do that because it's just a really good way to, be really cognitive. So it really minimizes frustration so that you can really plan accordingly, like your activities in the evening, without feeling so flustered.
Mm.
Like, oh, I didn't get to do the laundry or I didn't get to talk to so and so because now it's like, you know, 11 o'clock already and I'm tired. I need to go to sleep. Right now it's my morning, I mean, sorry, my bedtime ritual time. Right. So, and if you're aware of how long things take you, you're going to avoid that. You're going to schedule that call, with Chom at a different time because that day it's grocery day, it's laundry day, or whatever it is, right? So, and then you're going to avoid these frustrations of like not getting being in a rush.
Yeah, that's really good. And what do you do when like you're at the end of your day and you're totally wiped out? What's something you like to do? One of your favorite things for your self-care that maybe someone listening can take away?
When I'm wiped out. So it's really funny because like sometimes there's some I'm really wiped up. So it's actually difficult for me to meditate. And people like don't understand that. They're like, how is it difficult? I'm a big meditator, so meditation is very important to me as a part of my like I don't know. It just keeps me really grounded. Anyways, so when I really like had a really busy long day and I'm like, just mentally drained, and I can't like I'm like not feeling to meditate, right? The reason why people don't understand because meditation requires concentration. So when you're mentally depleted, it's like you just want to just lay down and just like totally, not even attempt to do anything, or you rather just like zone out and to Netflix or something. Um, so what I do is I take a long hot bath. and it's been my saving grace. And because the hot water, or sorry, the warm water, unless you like really hot water in your bath, to each their own. So, but for me, it's warm water. It automatically just calms your nervous system down. And I am a big fan of taking luxurious baths. So I go all out in my baths. I'm addicted to putting in the natural bath bombs in my bath, the natural bath salts, essential. I love putting lavender, oil in my bath because it's like extra relaxing and it really relaxes the muscles even more. And then I like light candles around the bath, dim the lights. It's just candlelight. And I love aromatherapy. Sometimes I love sage, so I'll burn sage. Or sometimes I just have the diffuser on and I'm just diffusing the lavender essential oil. Just depends on my mood. And then if I want to listen to a guided meditation, I'll put a guided meditation on from my phone or my laptop, or a quiet meditation. So that's what I do. It's my favorite activity. And I can just be soaking in there for like 3 hours, and it's like my therapy.
I love that. Taking a
And I
bath
have
is
the
one of,
best, and you have the best sleeps. This is especially really good for people that are, trying to get their meditation practice going. Taking a bath is a really good way to hijack to meditate without,
mm,
having that struggle to calm your nervous system down and stop thinking, because we all have this monkey mind that we're conditioned. We're just conditioned to have a monkey mind, just
yes.
because society, our lives are so busy and noisy. So we're just so conditioned to constantly think thoughts and like, oh my, what do I need to do? And we're just constantly thinking. In fact, we actually have like between 60 to 90,000 thoughts every day, subconsciously, and we're not even aware of it, right? So,
Yeah, or what's the next thing, or what do I have to do next? And then it takes you from the moment where you need to just relax and let your body just have that space to be calm and rest, really to just really rest. So let's go back to that monkey mind for a minute. I love that you brought that up because what do you do when your monkey mind is so full of negative thoughts? Like what if like you feel bombarded, you're spiraling down, you just like this is wrong, that can't happen, negative, negative, negative. What helps you out of that? What can help one of our listeners out of that today?
mhm. So asking questions is super, super powerful. Like, what if I'm wrong? Just ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? Like, explore that. Just get really curious about possibilities, Um, reading biographies of successful people who have done what you're trying to accomplish, right? Um, and just remember that like we are all human, we all, having a fear from time to time is really normal. Like I said, the minute we walk out the door, we are exposing ourselves to angry people, like I said, like the road rager, an insecure coworker or whatever. Like there, we need to learn how to navigate around these things, and having tools like journaling, being aware of how we feel in our body, being aware of our own, like our own fears that we've adopted throughout the years, most of it stemming from childhood. A lot of people are not aware of their blinders because a lot of it is subconscious. So this is why, doing self-reflection work, like I said, even in the bath, you can do it in the bath and doing those meditations and ask yourself those questions, because when you're in the bath, the magic lies, in a trance-like state. Because when you're in a trance-like state, that's when you're really accessing the subconscious mind. And this is why we say the word transformation, right? Because the magic is in the trance. So, and this is why meditation is so magical, because we're in a trance-like state. So, in that trance-like state, that's when we're really going in. And so this is why a lot of people say, that's how your intuition increases, because when you're meditating, you're going into your body, you're not living in the external world, you're living in the internal world. So you're actually like hearing your breath, you're feeling how like breathing feels like in your body. Where are you breathing from? Is it your chest? Is it your belly? Your heart rate, is it going fast? You're more cognizant of that. So this is where you get to really tap into your inner truth as to who you are, because if you don't pay attention to what's going on, and then when you go and live in the real world, the external world, you're going to be better at scanning your body to actually how you feel. A lot of people are not good at what's going on in their body when they're having a conversation with a particular person or a stranger. Is your heart racing faster? Is your muscles tensing up? Because we've never been trained to be aware of that. So I say that because that's important, because that's where the truth lies. Our body doesn't lie to us. In fact, when we're looking at people, a lot of I don't know what you want to call them, I guess. Well, I'm just going to say psychology. Like when a normal person, like someone that's not a psychopath or a sociopath, when they're lying, the body gives away clues, right? So the body never lies, right? Unless, you're a sociopath or a psychopath. So yeah, so that's why it's so important to access and really be cognizant of what's going on in our bodies.
So what what is something you did the last time you had a negative thought? Walk us through what your thought was to help you out of that.
Yeah. So what if I'm wrong? That's what I ask myself. Like, what if I'm wrong? And also too, like, where is it stemming from? I think that is like really the most important, because if you do the exercise of like, what if I'm wrong? Or use any other, mental tool to kind of pull you out of that thought, and it does work. But if you have a deep rooted fear that's coming from, childhood, let's say, it's going to pop up again in maybe another circumstance again, because you're not dealing with that root fear that's like been living in your subconscious mind. So you have to, this is where, meditation, journaling comes in fact, at happybeingwell.com, this is why I developed a free self-care journal for anybody to go on and download. And the resources section, it has 50 questions designed to understand, where your fears come from. What are your true desires? The questions are designed to actually go and reflect back into your personal past history to be able to pull and extract them out so you can actually identify them. I think that's really one of the hurdles, is really identifying what those deep-rooted fears or deep-rooted beliefs are, and revisiting them. And that, it's a process, it's a journey, and it requires self-reflection work. And sometimes there's a lot of layers involved, because we have this thing, and it's called ego. And so the ego likes to make us feel safe, makes us feel comfortable, and so it prevents us from seeing especially like micro traumas, like especially when dealing with perhaps like our parents or something, like the micro stuff, like, that is more that you just kind of have to explore and really go with a microscope to uncover as to how, you formulated certain beliefs about yourself or behaviors or blah blah blah, because it's been so many years, and we've kind of built all these layers, all these bricks on that foundation. So you have to, once you uncover it, you ask yourself, okay, what was the lesson here? What did this experience, what did I tell myself, when I was like 10 years old or whatever, as a result of that experience? And then you finally realize, oh, this is what because in the moment when you're 10 or you're 7 or whatever, you adopt that particular belief or behavior because it allowed you to excel. It allowed you to, protect yourself and continue on in life, right? But as you grow up, it kind of like goes against you, right? So you have to, it's why and then you ask yourself, okay, how is this serving me? Is it not serving me? Where did it come from? Okay, what's the lesson here? And often the lesson is, it's not about you. It's about, the other person. It's their stuff, and just like release it and let it go. And that is just a really empowering technique. And, doing and journaling for that reason is really powerful to kind of go through that process.
So does self-sabotage have to do with that, or where does self-sabotage come in when someone?
So yeah, self-sabotage can come in. There's a lot of reasons. It could be insecurity, it could be low self-esteem, it could be a negative belief from a particular situation that you've experienced. Um, yeah, so with self-sabotage, you have to again, look at, okay, why am I a lot of people don't recognize they're even self-sabotaging because it happens in these very covert ways in terms of, why did you make this particular decision? um, you know, how are you behaving in a relationship? Are you constantly wanting to control your partner? Or are you staying, in a relationship that's like really toxic and you have the fear of not leaving to, just a lot of different forms.
Mhm.
So, or not taking action on the career that you want to develop or whatever, right? So there's a lot of different forms of self-sabotage. It's not always that extreme form of like, you know, being addicted to drugs or alcohol or what have you, right? It can be in these um little ways, like in terms of reflecting in your life decisions and choices you make. So you have to explore and ask yourself questions like, where is it stemming from? Why am I making these particular decisions? Where is it stemming from? Commit to yourself. Increase your self-awareness, and by asking yourself questions allows you to increase your self-awareness, and most importantly, meditate increases your self-awareness, through time. I mean, just because you meditate once doesn't mean you're going to like have all this amazing intuition and self-awareness, from one session, right? You have to be dedicated and committed. um so yeah, and then that's why I developed happybeingwell.com, because it was through those products that allowed me to calm my nervous system down, because I'm an overthinker. I'm a fast thinker. I'm always like super, super ambitious, always wanted to get things done. So I really did need those tools to be able to develop a committed and devoted meditation practice, aromatherapy. And you don't necessarily even need to have an aromatherapy diffuser to use oils, essential oils. You can like rub the essential oils in the palm of your hands and then sniff them. So just little things like that. Crystals calm you down. Having, even just staring at a candle flame, is a form of meditation, because just staring at after a while, it's so pretty to look at. And also, it's a form of aromatherapy, certain because the scent from the candle. And you want to make sure you get an all natural candle, happy being well, because you're going to put those chemicals into the air and you're going to
Right.
be, ingesting it. It's not good.
More
And
toxins.
yeah, and actually can cause like black stains like on your ceiling, it's just not good.
Yeah.
So, and on your, if depending upon where you're placing your candle too, like if you're putting it in like a candle vase, that you'll see like if you're using like a candle filled with toxins, it's just going to get all the black tar around the glass. So you don't want to do that. So at happybeingwell.com, it's all natural wax, all natural scents. So just by doing that is a really good meditation hack too, because watching the candle flame dance around, it's really soothing and it puts you in a trance-like state. So it helps as well.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that. I do love journaling. I dip into it back and forth, but every time I do it, you're right. It's so helpful to reflect and things come out and you can get it. You can like look at it even from a different perspective once you just write it out. And it just, the journey of that is really a valuable tool to use.
Yeah, and a lot of people do have a difficult time starting to journal though, because it's like, well, what do I say? Like, dear journal, like, what do I do? What do I write in it? Like, it's kind of so actually I just wrote a blog article on happybeingwell.com to help people get over that hurdle of starting to journal. Because especially when as adults, our lives are so busy. So I can totally relate to that. It's because our mind is like, I gotta do this, I have to do that. And, when you think about journaling and you just think of like, it's something that children do, right? It's just like, oh, yeah, that's going to help me. Right. Okay. So I can see how people can come from that place. But it really truly is once you get started. And again, questions, right? So for people who don't even know what kind of questions to even ask themselves, that's where the free self-care journal at Happy Being Well comes in. The questions are there. You just answer them, and then you'll start writing up a storm to go on that self-discovery process
Yeah.
to empower yourself.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I'll put that link that the listeners can access that. That is awesome. So, Rita, if you were able to go back and tell your younger self a word of encouragement, advice, or learning from all that you've learned that's brought you to where you are today, what would that be?
Trust your gut instinct. Don't go into the mind and start doubting yourself. That's number one. Trust your gut. Listen to your body. If your body is like, something doesn't feel right, or your muscles are tensing up about a particular, choice, and just listen to it. It's always right. Don't let your head, you know, um, persuade you otherwise. So that's what I
Mm,
would say to my younger self.
love that.
Trust yourself and listen to your body. That's such a good takeaway. And Rita, how can someone find and follow you and join your community?
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram at Happy Being Well, or on Facebook at Happy Being Well. There is a Facebook group for Happy Being Well. It's a group where people can go and be a member, a Facebook group where, there's a lot of information around how to increase your vibration through self-care. And people share their stories, their journeys of how they've increased their vibration through self-care. And the group is called Increase Your Vibration Through Self-Care. Also, the link to that group is on Happy Being Well's website in the About Us page. So if it's there, they can click on the Facebook group and they can be a member if they like.
Well, Rita, thank you so much. You've given, I know, me a lot to think about, and some tools that I can even implement and practice even tonight and starting tomorrow. So thanks for being you and sharing a part of yourself with us to help us in our self-care journey. So thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Hey there, it's Karin. I hope that you're enjoying the show. And by the way, if you're a mom who wants to learn how to help your child when they're struggling behaviorally or facing challenges in school, get started today by getting my free short video course, 3 Steps to Happy Healthy Kids, at www.educationalimpactacademy.com/free video. If you're new here or you haven't done this yet, this is definitely the first step to get started in learning how to have a happy, healthy life with your kids. So head on over to www.educationalimpactacademy.com/free video and grab your free gift today. Well, that's all we've got for this episode of the Momnificent Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I would be honored if you would subscribe and rate if you really liked it. I know wherever you're listening right now, it might not be the best time to leave a comment, but feel free to leave a question, a review, or a comment at any time. And until next time, remember, don't worry, be happy.